So, hello and welcome to the next part of our life. The last time we had some communication errors to solve between Miranda and Terry. Luckily, it ended up really just being a just a communication issue, so it was easily resolved with just one talk. So, and then we will continue with the next moments. So, we'll do errands next. From the moment you woke up, you knew that today was going to be busier than usual. There was a list of errands that needed to be finished before the day was done. First up was visiting one of the biggest farmer markets in the area. It was only open 2 weekends a month during certain parts of the year. It was rare that you and your family were able to attend, so your moms liked to make the most of every minute of it. Ah yes, big-ass markets. And you realize it was not just them feeling that way when you heard a whistle from your left side. Wow, this is a swanky show. Vegetables have never seemed so highbrow. Seriously, they don't mess around with their products.
Isn't that great?
Isn't it exciting? Liz crossed her arms. You could tell she was amused. We couldn't have picked a more perfect trip. It's been too long since we've had a true family outing. Her teasing tone said more than she actually did. Your next door neighbor had joined you this day, and that's what made it a true family outing. The three parents laughed approvingly. Out of the corner of your eye, you caught Cover looking at you sympathetically. Some things never changed, and some jokes never died. You'd long accepted that. I must say, I am not in love with like farmers markets. They're nice to see, but maybe I guess it changes when you get older and stuff, but it's more like indifference. There was so much ground to cover today, you wanted to get a move on. Well, I'm ready to get started. I've got plenty of dishes in mind I could use some ingredients for. Before your moms responded to that, they glanced at each other and smiled. Yes, it's a very good idea, Cliff. This place is much larger than it seems. It's difficult to visit each part in a single day.
I got it.
I'm sure we can make a decent dent together at least. Actually, since there are so many of us this time, we could take different sides of the market.
Sounds good.
Divide and conquer, eh? That sounds brilliant. Everyone watched their mom surprised. No one had considered that an option, but your mom flashed the group a dazzling smile, continuing the thought. Though it's a little unfair that there are 4 Moon family members and only 2 Holdens here, so I'll go with you boys to even out the odds.
Okay.
That's fine with me. Cliff scratched the back of his neck and slowly met Cover's stare. They both seemed unconvinced, but weren't sure what to say about it. Don't worry, we'll be apart for only a few hours, and then we'll have something to talk about at the end of it. Father and son ultimately nodded. This wasn't an argument they were going to win. Alright. I don't get the point, but I also don't mind spending the first part of the trip with Rina and Ma. Ma clapped their hands together at that. Wonderful! Are the teams ready to go? I mean, yeah, whatever. Noticing that you were quiet, Ma hooked an arm around you in a little side hug. He smiled softly. It just, Thank you, Rina. Taking the lead, Mom walked over to Carver and Cliff, who were still eyeing her confusedly.
Let's go.
Come on, boys. We're heading out. Sure. Okay. Carver looked at you softly and found himself pulled forward, stopping in front of you. His expression flickered for a moment, hesitant. You are not used to being separated, are you?
Bye.
Bye. Carver lightly took one of your hands in his and gave it a small squeeze. He reached forward with one arm to hug you a farewell. Instead, he stopped midway, his whole body stiff. He jerked his gaze away at your mom, and you realized that she had grabbed the hem of his shirt. She gave it a small tug before letting go.
No.
Time's a wasting, Cover, and I've known you long enough to be aware that you are one to linger. If I don't stop you now, you'll only drag your feet on the parting ways more. The two of you can snuggle as much as you want later. We have important shopping to do now. Cover gasped at Cover gasped at what he felt was a truly obscene thing to say. His face burned red, but that was ignored by him. He spoke with an unimpressed roll of the eye.
Seriously?
You don't need to literally pull me away from Rina. I'm not that clingy. Are you sure? Mom sniggered with... Sniggered? I can't pronounce it. With a shake of her head. Cover's eyebrows raised over the interaction and turned to Ma. She wouldn't meet his eye as she whistled innocently. Liz smirked from ear to ear, and Cover whipped his head towards his dad, Mr. Holden. Mr. Holden couldn't offer anything more than an apologetic shrug. It was only then that it dawned on Cover that everyone did think that he was that needy. Finally, he dared to face you with a wide, pleading eyes. Oh no. Choices. Yeah, I would agree with the others, but I would compliment it, but here... Yeah, he is totally capable of being independent when he wants to be. He spoke very matter-of-fact and fixed a stern gaze on the group. Cover meanwhile beamed at having your support. Without thinking, Cover took another step forward, feeling drawn to you. Also, again, Mom grabbed the back of his shirt. She tried suppressing her laughter, but a few chuckles escaped. Actions speak louder than words. Cover's mouth twisted as he struggled to come up with something to say in his defense. He was nearly embarrassed all over again. Yeah, well... So what? That admission had Liz and your mom's and his dad bursting into laughter. Cover grimaced and walked several steps from the group before stopping. He clearly wanted to move on, so much that he was physically moving away. You smiled softly at him. Cover nodded over so slightly you knew that he caught it, and he seemed to feel better just a bit.
See you later.
See you in a few hours. Take care of yourselves. At that, Mom picked a direction and set out into the market with Mr. Holden and Cover following behind her. Grinning, Ma sent off with a big wave. Liz gave a daintier goodbye wave herself. Whatever. It's not like it will be the last time we see him. Let's be honest. Hmm. Are we gonna best friend Sonnen? No, 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 no. He should be our boyfriend, right? Like, he should... He is, right? Yeah, he is, he is. He explicitly asked. With the Firefly, right? No. I must say I'm not a fan of having my plans changed, or when things turn out differently than I expected them. I was really bad about it when I was younger. And that could earn you a big, big tantrum if things didn't go as I expected. I mean, you can always go later. This wasn't the note you wanted to start this errand on. Signing, you hoped there wouldn't be any more unnecessary surprises today. Liz noticed you were already deflating and took the spot next to you. She elbowed you in a gesture that could only be encouraging when coming from an older sibling. Do you think there will be any nice ginger around here? We'll have to find out. You nodded plainly, not having much to add right now. Ma led you both into the busy market. Some time passed, and your group had spent it browsing for the most part. There were only a few stalls you stopped at, but otherwise you were dragging your feet, trailing along behind Ma and Liz. At one point, Ma suddenly stopped. She put a hand on her belly and gave a half-hearted smile. I think I should have used the bathroom before we left home, like the two of you responsibly did. Never forget. Just need to pee?
Yes.
Yes, Liz, I will have to visit the ladies' room now. Should we wait here? Ma craned forward as she struggled to pinpoint the direction she needed to go. She gently brushed your comment away. There's no need to worry about me over this. Oh, waste time standing around. Keep on shopping. Though, actually, I might need help finding my way. Can you please come, Lizzie? You and your sister had to share a look over that. Why do that all of a sudden?
Hey.
Ma, if anyone should go anywhere on their own, shouldn't it be you? You're the one needing a detour, and you're the parent here. Ma giggled, unfazed by the resistance. Lizzie, meanwhile, tipped the brow of her head up, watching Ma skeptically. Soon enough, Rina will have to handle doing these kinds of errands on their own. This makes good practice. What? Ma hooked an arm around Liz and pulled her along. Have fun, and we'll find each other again later. Excuse me? Huh. You watched dumbfounded as they waded into the crowd. They were out of sight within moments, and what started as a group outing rapidly became you, entirely on your own. Yeah. I probably would feel kind of lost. Don't know what to think. You still couldn't believe Ma just did that. There wasn't a single doubt in your mind that she had some ulterior motives, but for now you had to figure out what to do next. I mean, she does certainly have a plan. So I would just walk off on my own. Resigned to your fate, you picked up where you left off browsing the stalls. One hooked your attention. You know, being on your own also has the, well, advantage that you can buy whatever the hell you want. While most stalls were selling various garden-grown foods, this one had an area of homemade fudge. There were even vegan. Is that how you pronounce it in English? Vegan? Vegan versions of every option. I must say I actually do not know what fudge is. You sidestepped past a few other people and got yourself right in front of the counter for a better look. There was a widespread dozens and dozens of delicately cut squares of decadence. The owner smiled and approached you to explain their shop. The fudge is sold in boxes of 4 pieces. They either can be all the same, all different, or any mix you like. Are you looking to buy any today? I mean, why the hell not? No, I am a bit salty to be left entirely on my own, so just for cover. Looking at the treats made you think of cover. You grinned, hoping you liked what you picked out. And I want a box for myself. Your mind was already filling with thoughts of sinking your teeth into the delicious fudge. There was no walking away empty-handed now. Though I do feel bad for Mr. Holden and Mom. Okay. Let's not be Sunder now. We'll get also a box by everyone else. The whole selection was too good not to share. And that was all. That's all I can choose. Yeah, I could use some fudge. I'm glad you came to the right place then. For yourself you picked... I like dark chocolate. Cookies and cream. And 1 milk chocolate. For the group you picked... chocolate peanut butter. Caramel. Maple walnut. Red velvet. What would Cover like? Cover doesn't really have much of an super strong preferences, right? He isn't a picky eater. He wants to choose banana peanut butter sandwich, right? So I'll get him some peanut butter. Some key lime. Cookies and cream. Oh well, and chocolate toffee. You couldn't help but try imagine how Coven might react when you presented this to him. Everyone else was definitely going to be happy when you regrouped later. You paid and there was no stopping the large grin going all across your face. The music doesn't fit the mood right now. Pivoting on your heels, you wove your way back to the center of the path. You pondered for a moment what you should do now. None of the stalls were catching your eye. What did grab your attention, however, was a head of familiar seafoam hair sticking out above the crowd. You knew instantly it was Cover. What you doing? Were you also ditched by the others? He hadn't noticed you yet, but he was walking in your direction. He held a couple bags tightly to his hand. In his hand, strangely you couldn't spot your mom or his dad anywhere. He was also abandoned. I mean, if he was also abandoned, there's no reason not to call out at him. Cough? The moment his name left your lips, you were certain your voice didn't project enough, but he stopped dead in his tracks. Alert, Cover's head snapped up and his eyes searched the crowd until he landed on you. His whole demeanor brightened at the sight. Hello. He weaved through the passerby awkwardly in an attempt to get through as fast as reasonably possible, nearly stumbling more than once. Yeah, I ran up to meet him. He took a full tilt towards Cover as he continued his own approach. It was undeniable that he was shopping by himself. You stared at him confused. Where's Mom? And your dad? Cover crossed his arms defiantly, the bags twisting in front of him. Your mom took my dad and I ended up alone. Why are you by yourself? This abandoned me too.
What?
I can't believe this happened to both of us. Yeah, it was planned. It was planned. Most certainly. They planned it. They had to. But I don't know why. Are they pranking us? I don't know either. And you meant it. You couldn't fathom what your moms were up to. Cover shook his head, trying to clear his mind.
So...
Well... His change in tone caught you off guard. You watched his eyes start to twinkle with mischief as his mouth pulled into a cheeky smile. You know, it is technically later, and your mom isn't around this time. You chuckled, knowing exactly what he was implying. That incident was already replaying in your head. We are a bit out in the open, but a hug is enough. In seconds you closed the distance between you both, enveloping Cover in a tight hug. He held you just as tight and his back soft knocked against your back, eliciting a small gasp out of you. But you were content. Cover held you until you were ready to let go. I'm glad it's later.
Me too.
His gaze wandered off as one of your parents might simply appear if he kept checking, and you could tell he was still processing the situation. He scratched the back of his head, looking sheepish. Do you wanna forget about what's ever happening and go shopping together? See. It felt good knowing you were going to have company for the rest of the trip. Cover seemed to be thinking the same thing, because his body seemed to relax then.
Don't worry about it.
Even if we have to make our own fun, we're gonna have a good trip. Cover smiled at you encouragingly. It made you feel... Nothing, it was a terrible trip either way. Oof. I mean, it's basically now a date, so... Having him there was already comforting, and now he also seemed determined to improve your day by any means. That had you looking forward to what was coming next. So, where to first? I don't mind going back the way I came, if it's new to you. It's not hard to miss stuff, even if I've gone past it. What have you gotten? Cover shuffled his bags around and started pulling them open so you could peek inside each one. You recognize an area of things you picked up around the market. I mostly got typical things I can use pretty easily so far, nothing super exciting. Well, I picked up a few things I figured you might want to have too. There were a few onions, some lemons, some potatoes, among other things that were wrapped up so you couldn't discern what they were. Thank you. What Cover brought made sense, but it was far from a complete selection. You glanced around at the nearby stalls. Wanna head over there? Cover followed your eyes as you pointed at one of the larger stalls. It was filled with several kinds of staple fruits and vegetables. Yeah, let's go. Once a few people finished paying and moved, you and Cover got yourself directly in front of the shop. There were so many things to pick from. I am always a fan of apples, oranges, strawberry. Some tomatoes and lettuce. And that's everything. The shop owner put your selection together and handed it to you in a couple bags. Happily you paid and waited for Cover to make his purchase. Ready to go? Cover grinned, satisfied with his new choices. He had added another bag to his small but growing collection. You nodded. Actually, before moving on and everything, I was wondering if you wanna hold hands while we're shopping? Sure. There was no way you could say no to that face. Delighted you laced your fingers with him without a hesitation. Cover squeezed your hand back. With renewed eagerness, your boyfriend nodded his head in the direction you had been going towards.
Alright.
Okay, now let's go. Together you and Cover wandered the market on the lookout for any stalls that caught your attention. Cover was walking around with a spring in his step, talking about the various meal ideas he had in mind. After a while you had to go greater distances to find something of interest. Several of the stalls were selling the same goods. It was only a matter of which you wanted to buy from. You continued ampling down the path until Cover stopped suddenly, literally pulling you away from your thoughts. Cover? You followed his eye line past the crowds. Immediately you knew what grabbed him. Homemade gems and local honey. That stall was glistening with quaint glass jars packed high, each encasing gels of varying colors. Cover's eyes were practically sparkling at the sight. His feet automatically began to take him there, likely without being fully aware he had made an unexplained detour. When you get closer, you were surprised there were even more varieties than you thought. There were even different honeys based on what type of pollen the bees used. Cover's focus seemed torn between a bottle of blackberry jam and one of clover honey. I cannot not. I kinda have to. It's impossible to not choose this. Look at his face. Dumbfounded, Cover nodded in response. His face was burning red. You grinned, way too pleased with your own joke. You thought things over for yourself too. I actually don't really like honey. But raspberry jam sounds good. I don't need to buy a lot this time though. You paid and the shop owner started putting together your order. They carefully packed it in a single bag with paper. Thank you very much. Amused to watch Cover give in, and just buy both the clover honey and the blackberry jam. He also went all in getting spring wildflower honey and plum jam too. The shop owner thoughtfully wrapped each in brown paper to protect them before putting them away in a bag. He handed the purchase to Cover.
Thank you.
You both stepped away from the stall. Cover didn't fail to notice the look you've been giving him since you agonized over his toast toppers. Hey, this doesn't go bad for a long time, so why not stock up? I could have chosen one if I wanted to. Alright, Cover. Be nice to enjoy snacking on it for a while. As you began to stroll, Cover looked up at the sky. He smiled. It was sort of unexpected, considering all of this was technically an errand, and unexpected changes often upset him. But he was happy, and Cover liked doing this kind of normal thing. And you could tell that Cover especially enjoyed doing these kinds of things with you. Why would it annoy you? It's not that bad. Feeling better than earlier. It was going to take a while before you could completely move on from being left in the middle of the market, but with cover you were happy. You could smile along with him. We're so domestic. Glad you're having a good time. And you meant it. Cover's good mood was only helping you boost your own, and you were thankful for that. Are you? Hmm? You put an emphasis on the popping P. Cover chuckled at your response, happy to see a change for the better in your mood. Later, when you spotted a less crowded area, you took a break from browsing. Cover started rummaging through one of his bags, just to check on how his goods were doing. A smile grew on his face as you went on to the next. You chuckled, knowing that Cover wouldn't let anything go to waste. There wasn't a single doubt he was gonna eat it all. You held a hand in front of your face as you squinted upwards. The sun had moved quite a bit, and you had been at the market for a good while now. Neither your feet nor your arms were sore right now, and Cover looked to be doing fine too. But that was something that could be coming. There was a price to pay for this much shopping, and it wasn't always just money. I mean, it would be kind of funny to ask this. I know it would be pretty much impossible to carry him, but you know. Cover gave you an odd look until he realized that you were completely serious. He burst into laughter. Come on. You might not have been as tall as he was, but you had strength. His chuckling died down, and you could tell Cover was somewhat considering your offer, but he shook his head. No, I mean, I've got all these bags, and I don't really do piggyback rides. My dad was the only one I ever got them from. I can do it, Cover, and I want to. Give it a try. Well, he twisted in place uncomfortably while you were continued to stand firm, and then he relented. Oh no, are you really gonna do that in the middle of the goddamn market? Alright, we can try. A grin broke out on your face. Somehow that was meant to be a favor for him had ended up like he was going to the trouble for you, but you had still won this round. Okay, up you go. There's no way. You crouched down low for Cover to get on. Cautiously he draped himself against your back and rubbed his arms around your neck. He tried tucking his long legs in as you slowly stood up a bit while you worked on getting your hands around him to help hold. But it was awkward with all the bags. Still, you continued on. His voice came out in a disbelieving squeak. Cover was still on while you were standing upright. You did it. His grip was so tight it was slightly uncomfortable, but there was no stopping the grin growing on your face. You knew he was gonna have a fun time. Something about that moment brought back to you the memory of the summer mall trip Cover's mom took you and your friends on. How it felt like you were all too big for the kiddie rides, but you didn't let that stop you from enjoying them anyway. Today felt like another one of those days. And with that, you and Cover continued on a trip through the market together. Ma and Mom had both texted you during the trip, though only to say that they hoped you found some good stuff and that they would see you later. There were no answers on where they went or why. You and Cover continued to wind your way through the bustling market. The list of outstanding items steadily shrieking while bags grew heavier. Cover must have had a fantastic view of the market from your back. You might have thought that would have helped finding the produce needed, but you would have been wrong. Putting Cover closer to the sky had made it easier for him to lose his head in the clouds. You heard as much about cool birds and people's stylish hair as you did about where you might find the next thing to pick up. He was just reveling in the new experience, and that was okay. Eventually he realized that he had not checked his phone in a while. He couldn't reach it from his current position, so you came to a stop out of the flow of foot traffic and let him hop down. Cover rearranged all the bags he was carrying, freeing a hand so that he could pull out his phone. You watched his eyes dart over the screen as he read the waiting messages. Not important, I can reply to that later. He mumbled his verdict under his breath. Then Cover's face scrunched up in confusion. Wait, I've got a message from my dad. Listen to this. Cover, I wasn't part of the plan. I didn't know that was going on when I left with Rina's mom. Where are you? He sent that ages ago. I didn't hear it come in. He sent another one since then. Says he hopes I'm alright and that he's not bothering me. The news one says everybody's going to the parking lot soon and that we can meet up there. He lowered his phone, eyes narrowed. The same conclusion was settling on you. Had landed on Covers as well. So it was on purpose. He lifted the phone again, staring hard at the screen. Didn't my mom pull the stunt when we were little? You know, the time she took us to the mall. Yeah, at least your mom said that she was leaving. Yeah, that's true. The crowd of people passing by stayed as noisy as ever, a sharp contrast to the silence that had fallen over you and Cover. He was rubbing the screen of his phone against his shirt, wiping away dust and debris. He continued scrubbing the screen long after anything could have remained. The action of a poor substitute for pushing away the awkwardness of the moment. Well, I certainly wouldn't be happy, you know. I do not like being abandoned in a place I don't know well, you know. But I don't know if I would call it so upsetting. Think struggling to comprehend this is better. Some of your parents' action made more sense with this context, but the bigger question, that of why, was still waiting down on you. Yeah, I think a groan is pretty acceptable. Carver leaned down, making his eyes level with yours. He laid his hands on your shoulders, grounding you. Carver's frown grew taut. His mouth a stiff, serious line, but his eyes wide with concern.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about your mom's leaving you alone out here like this without warning. His speech was slower than usual. You suspected that he was choosing each word carefully. It was unnatural, but you appreciated that he didn't want to risk upsetting you further. I don't know if you want to talk to them about this, but I can definitely back you up. I totally get that it's sucky. I would want to complain about it. Yeah, it's definitely the kind of thing where you kinda message your friends after the fact complaining about it. So let me vent just a bit. I didn't want things to be like this. But I didn't even talk about it and didn't get a chance to say anything. Carver listened, nodding gently as you unburdened yourself. Then you drew a deep breath and the fresh air steadying you. You didn't stop until your lungs were full. Carver watched over you, still concerned.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, even though I guess it's not exactly my fault this time, but is there anything I could do to make you feel better, even a little bit? Though I must say you already have. Ooh. I did? Yeah, you totally did. Carver nodded in understanding. He smiled, a simple, open and honest smile, and you knew that he accepted your answer. After a moment, he stepped further away from you, face turned. Carver closed his eyes and took a deep breath. His brows creased, then furrowed deeper into his skull. His arms tightly coiling together. So they did do something stupid, I knew it. His voice had taken on an exaggerated quality, but what was truly distinguished and from Carver's typical speaking tone was the abundance of rage. This is such a show, our parents are so dumb. Why do people have to go places with family members anyway? I hate them, and I also hate farmers markets. Oh. You got it instantly. It had been years since Jeremy visited your town this summer, and he had changed greatly nowadays, but Coven never forget that experience. To this day he continued to unleash his impersonation of Jeremy's younger self whenever the moment felt right. I mean, just join him, it will be freeing. Wow, what's wrong with you? I'm not wrong, actually. If you were as smart as me, you'd know that. Cover gave you a loop-sided smile, letting the joke rest for now. Come on, we should probably go meet up with the group. Yeah. You didn't dally any longer, slipping back into the crowd and making your way towards the entrance of the farmer's market. You know it would be kinda good payback. If you really took your time to get back. Not enough to, like, cause a panic, but long enough to annoy people. It didn't take long to reach the parking lot. Your parents, Mr. Holland and Liz, were already waiting there, and they waved at you both as you approached. Your own family seemed to be in a pretty good mood, in contrast to Mr. Holden. Poor guy. He was pulled into something he never agreed to. He stared at Cover with open concern as you got closer. Hey Rina, what are you doing? We'd be doing better if we hadn't been abandoned in a farmer's market by our families. You saw your mom's frowning at his response, Ma glancing to Cover from to Mom with blinking eyes. Just because Reyna is shy and tries not to complain doesn't mean you can just leave them out of your plans and expect them to go with it every time. Ma hung her head ashamed, and Mom had her hand pressed to her cheek. You could tell that they were quickly regretting their shame. I'm so sorry, Reyna. Your words were full of emotion. Mom squeezed Mom's arm. We were trying to make the errand more of a trip, less of a chore. Ma nodded. We didn't think you, Cov and Liz, wanted to be stuck trudging around the market with your parents all day. Especially not in the summer. But you're always very thoughtful and didn't like to leave your moms behind, so we did ourselves. It was only going to be for the market, not the other stops, I promise. Still, you're right. We could have just told you and let you make your own call. I'm really sorry. Neither of us meant to upset you. Oh gosh, no breaks. We should have known better, sorry. oh no, Liz was also all alone. Ma ditched me too, after pulling her urgent potty break stunt, if that helps. I went off to do my own shopping, as it seems they planned.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't check back in with you. I wasn't thinking and just tried to blow it off. You quietly took in the stories of what happened. Over to the side, Cover was talking to his dad. Thanks for telling me something was up, though I feel bad for missing the warning when you sent it.
You're welcome.
It's no trouble sport. I'll learn my lesson about making surprise plans. Besides, I've got to register every thought that wanders through the set by you first, right? That sounds about right, yeah. Cover smiled at his dad, Mr. Holden. Mr. Holden laughing clapped Cover on the back.
Not bad.
Wow, we were really outplayed today. You realized you hadn't been the only onlookers to the Holden's moment. Your moms were exchanging rueful looks. Liz had her arms crossed over her chest, patiently watching it all unfold. Yes, looks like it. We'd better find somewhere to catch up.
In that case,
Maybe we can do Reina's chores for the next week? Mom jabbed Ma on the shoulder. You might be onto something. Reina, how'd you like the sound of that? They looked at you hopefully. Sounds good to me. Good, we're serious. At the very least, we can make sure everyone stays together for the rest of the stops we're making today. Even more, it's already going dark. You all nodded at this suggestion.
yes.
We won't let you down. We'll be the best sheepdogs ever, guarding the flock and catching any strays.
Funny.
We could at least be shepherds. You chuckled. Your mood lifting in spite of the bumpy morning. It was going to be alright. You turned to the entrance for the farmer's market for one final glance, pressing it into your memory under this new light. You thought on what you'd picked at the market and how you were going to enjoy it later. Some things you could only get from local supplies like this. That was another perk of coming along to the market today. Actually, you realized this would be a good time to bring out the fudge you got to share. While everyone was clustered together, you cleared your throat. I got something for you all. The announcement grabbed everyone's interest and they looked over at you, each curious about what you had in store. You dug your hand into the bag and pulled out a specially selected treat. It's fudge. There's only 4 pieces, but I thought we could try a little each. Oh! Oh, that's so sweet of you. The Holdens were wearing matching grins at the prospect of free dessert. Their family resemblance more notably as they mirrored each other's expression. Sweet is the right word for this. Thanks very much, Rina.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You're fantastic.
Great, I can't wait to bust it open. We should save it for tonight. You can probably enjoy a treat when there are still chores to be done. Besides, we don't want to make a mess with it melting in this heat. The others murmured their agreements and nodded, reaching a consensus. He stowed the box away safely for now. Coverdin settled up next to you, an eager smile on his face. You could tell from his expression that he was up to something. Thanks again for getting fudge. It was very cool of you. Oh, I have an entire box just for you, boy. You knew he hadn't come over just to thank you individually, not with that huge smirk. I got something to share too, but well, only really with you. I guess I'm not as nice, oh well. He smiled wryly at him, eyebrows raised, and he laughed. Anyway, well, I sort of picked something out with you in mind. He held a hand to her chest, staring at the cover as he explained further.
I mean,
Since your moms decided we should shop separately, I figured I could use the time to get you something, just a little surprise. He reached into one of his bags and retrieved one of the wrapped up objects. You accepted the unexpected present and he looked on excitedly as you tore off the paper. It was a glass bottle of apple juice. You didn't need to taste it to know that it would be nice. It was a boutique product. It was heavy in your hands, the container and small metal cup reaffirming the quality. Even the apple, constructed from the coarse paper rather than the flimsy sheet of plastic, was distinctive. You were practically bouncing in anticipation and he smiled sweetly at your reaction. It's not a big deal, I just thought you might like it. His eyes began to widen. I got something for you too, when you weren't around. Guess what? Entire thing of fudge only for you. There was a burst of laughter, first from your mom, followed by a chorus of chuckles from the other three. You've forgotten that you were still hanging around. Unfortunately, they hadn't paid you and Cover the same courtesy, and had been listening in on your conversation. Well, actually, we kind of shopped together, so... You weren't even apart for a whole day! And you both still used that as a chance to get each other little gifts? Ma clasped her hands together, eyes bright.
Good job.
That's so lovely. A day was less than a whole morning.
Right?
True. I don't even want to think about what happens when you spend real time apart. That's my boy. You reach back into the bag where you had first retrieved the box of fudge for everyone, shuffling it aside to take out the other one underneath. Your cheeks were reddening and you spoke quietly, hoping that this is only Cover could hear. That one was for everybody, but I got another for you. Cover's face lit up, his grin stretching from ear to ear. The laughter that came from the others who were fully tuned into your little show didn't appear to reach him. You wished you were similarly impervious to it, but you were embarrassed.
Seriously?
Really? It's only for me? Cover took the box of fudge in one hand and claimed one of your hands with his other. He used the hold he had to lead you closer to him, while he rubbed the back of your hand with his thumb, tracing the small circles of your skin. We are kind of still in presence of other people. To not notice when other people are staring. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He looked at you with shining eyes. At this rate, it wouldn't just be your little group that knew about how you've been treating him, but a whole parking lot was going to learn about it. Behind Cover, you could see Mom watching you both with a smile of hilarity. See, this is why he's so attached. You've spoiled him. You shouldn't make fun, Pam. It's clearly mutual. Besides, I don't hear you complaining when I'm spoiling you. Ma pinched Mom's cheek, making her laugh as she batted the hand away. True, true. Liz clapped her hands together with the air of a teacher calling for attention. Since the other adults aren't acting like grown-ups, the rest of us are going to have to pick up the slack. It's time to get back on schedule and continue with the rest of the errands. Playtime is officially over. Ma laughed while Mr. Holland grinned awkwardly. Mom hung her head in an exaggerated display of mock defeat. Kids are tough. I can't even call them kids anymore. Liz tootled with amusement at her mother. Carver shrugged, staying a neutral observer, but a small smile on his face revealed that he was enjoying the conclusion. You nodded, relieved that everyone was getting along. With that, your trip to the farmer's market was closed. It was time to move on. There were too many of you for one car, so you and Cover had wound up in Mr. Holden's car on the way over. You figured it made sense to do the same for the next leg of the journey. You sat next to Cover in the back. Immediately after the click of the seatbelt in its lock announced that Cover was safely strapped in, he began to unfold the box of fudge he'd been given. "You're gonna eat now?" "Uh-huh." He nodded eagerly, not taking the eyes from his container. He lifted the top off and longingly admired the selection inside. "Is the green fudge lime?" "Yep, key lime." That's amazing, because it's fudge but it's also fruity somehow. That looks like cookies and cream. That's a really cool flavor for fudge. That's peanut butter in there, right? Chocolate with peanut butter mixed. Ooh, that's so good. Is it? Can you tell me what the little flecks are? It's toffee. Once Cover had finished bestowing praise on what you had picked, he promptly started sampling the selection. He was smiling, licking his lips and having a grand old good time. You could also tell from the ways his nibbling was turned into munching that the box wasn't going to survive the trip to the next stop. You were right. Cover had tried to savor the treats, claiming just one more until there was only one left, and the statement was finally forced to be true. He finished the last one too. He sighed contentedly.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Rina. Those really were great. You're welcome. He set the picked clean box to the side, then rested his head on then rested his hands on his spoiled tummy. Cole wasn't going to be hungry for a while after that. From there he sat wordlessly, gaze drifting to the window. You knew Conval well enough to spot the signs of when he was physically present, but mentally elsewhere. The way he would fall quiet, staring without seeing, the long blinks, all of which he was doing right now as he looked at nothing in particular. He licked his fingers absent-mindedly, getting the last of the melted fudge off his hand. I mean, it's nice that he's enjoying it this much. You closed your eyes as you pulled up the resolve to speak. What has you so lost in thought? Well, I was just thinking about how nice you are. How nice I am? Yeah. His face grew redder as his hands clenched around the top of his knees. You stared up at him, hoping for an explanation, but Cole simply ducked his head. When he next spoke, his voice was barely more than a whisper. I'm lucky I get to be with you. I feel lucky too. He peeked at you from the corner of his eyes, still too shy to look at you directly. You smiled at him affectionately, electing an equally caring smile from Cover in return. You felt content, secure in your relationship with Cover. I mean, why not? You twisted off the cap and brought it to your mouth. Even before the first sip reached your lips, the scent tickled your nostrils. You took a swig. Swig? It was refreshing, the perfect way to hit the spot after a long morning trawling through the market. It's good. Thank you. He grinned at you, pleased that his pack had been well received. You spent the rest of the day completing the remaining errands all together as a group. Probably prefer being with the others than being on my own. Ma had been true to her word and ensured that you spent the rest of the time with the Moon family and the Holm family in one place. It had been a wonderful time, a lovely high note to end on. And it's already been almost an hour. So, let's end the episode here then, at this point. Next time we will then do the last moment hang I'm guessing hanging out. So yeah. Until next time. Bye.